What was the temperature today?
Like hundreds.
It was over 100, right?
That's what my car said. I don't think it was over 100.
That's what they said. It was like about 100 and...
Check the weather.
It said it's supposed to be like 105 today.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, it feels like 100 right now.
So it's gonna be in the 90s all week.
This is a very familiar feeling, this house being this hot right now. You know, when you're sitting there running the air conditioner, you're still sweating, you know. All right. Let's go on, man. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa hayyakum wa Allah yuhayyikum. Bring him here. Bring him here. He just goes right back to the same exact place and just flops down. Come on, man. Let the YouTube bros know who you are. Come on.
Well, and they're live.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone?
This is not our cat. This is the neighbor's cat that just keeps coming to our house. This is a huge, huge cat. Well, like you said, look at them. He's got like Mike Tyson paws, man. He's gonna go right back down there and plop right next to Ibrahim again. What? Trying to figure out what that fan is. All right, let's get started, inshallah. I'll check out the sound to make sure everything's okay because we're using a different phone today. Yeah, same spot, right? Same exact spot. All right, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So we're on chapter 161. قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى باب فضل زيارة. The fadl is talking about the virtues of something. The fadl is anything that's what, generally in the Arabic language, the fadl is anything that is extra. It's more than, that's what it generally means. Extra or more than what's needed. You know, fadul is just like being too curious and, you know. So like, for example, in the Arabic language, they call the person who's nosy, they call him faduli. Faduli, like you're always looking like into people's business. So this is called a faduli because they love fadul. They love just like extra information, extra things. But a fadl is generally used anything that's more than what's needed. But in this case, when we talk about a fadl fi shay, we're talking about what is the virtues of something. The virtues, all right. So fadlu what? Az-ziyara. It comes from zara, yazuru, ziyaratan. All right, which means to visit, like we talked about before. Zara, yazuru, ziyaratan. All right. So hadith number 350. حدثنا سليمان بن حرب وموسى بن إسماعيل قال حدثنا حماد بن سلمة عن ثابت. Thabit here, I believe, is al-Bunani. Al-Bunani, if I'm not mistaken. عن ثابت عن أبي رافع عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال زار رجل أخا له في قرية أخرى فأرسل الله له ملكا على مدرجته فقال أين تريد؟ قال أخا لي في هذه القرية فقال هل له عليك من نعمة تربها؟ قال لا إني أحبه في الله قال فإني رسول الله إليك إن الله أحبك كما أحببته. So this hadith is reported on the authority of Abi Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, in which he said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال, he said زار رجل أخا له في قرية. So a man, he visited a brother of his in a village في قرية أخرى. Now we can tell that this is talking about a brother that's a brother for deen, not a brother بالنسب. يعني الأخوة الدينية ليس الأخوة النسبية. And how do we know that this is a brother in the religion and not a brother in the deen? This is going to take some brain power. How can you see that? Huh? Because in the old days, the Arabs, they used to live in villages. but each tribe had a different village. You know, and the area of that tribe, the whole area was called a hay, which is now referred to, and nowadays in the language is called, hay is used as for neighborhood. All right, so if he was from a certain tribe and his brother was from the same tribe, why would they be living in different villages, right? So he said, and he zara akhan lahu fi qaryatin ish ukhra. Zara akhan lahu fi qaryatin ukhra. So he visited him in another village. So if he was going to another village, then you would assume automatically that this is not his brother as far as family is concerned. All right, this is his brother in the deen, not his brother as far as family. All right, because if it was his brother in the family, then they would all be in the same village, because that's how they used to live in the past, and that's how a lot of families even till now. If you go to any, like you go to Yemen and you go to the outskirts of Saudi Arabia, like the smaller villages, then you'll see the same thing. You know, like they all live in the same, all the whole family, they live in the same village. All right, so he said, Zara akhan lahu fi qaryatin ukhra, fa arsada Allahu lahu malaka. So arsada, all right, arsada, it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent an angel, one of his angels, to do what? And yarasuduhu. Yarasuduhu, rasadahu, it means what? Intadarahu wa irtaqabahu. All right. It means basically he waited for him and he watched him closely. He waited for him and watched him closely. This is arasadahu Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had already sent the angel waiting for him to what? To come up to the place where he's about to go in to visit the brother, and the angel was there waiting for him, watching him and waiting for him until he got to that point. فَقَالَ أَيْنَ تُرِيدُ. So once he got to that point, the angel said to him, where do you want to go? Where are you going? قَالَ أَخًا لِي فِي هَذِهِ الْقَرْيَةِ. You know, I'm going to a brother that I have in this village. All right. فَقَالَ هَلْ لَكَ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ تَرُبُّهَا. He said, do you have any ni'mah? Like, is there anything that you're trying to get from him? Like some type of benefit that you're trying to get from him, whether it's money, whether it's food, or whatever. He said, tarubbaha. The word rabba, yarubbu, it means aslahahu wa nammahu. Aslahahu aw nammahu. But here it specifically means nammahu. It means that you're trying to get something extra, some type of benefit that you can use for yourself as something extra. But generally, it's like money. You know, like maybe he's like, oh, I'll give you some money, so you're going to visit him for some type of dunya purpose. فقال لا. He said, no, it's not for any of these purposes. قال إني أحبه في الله. He said, I'm only visiting him for the purpose of what? That I love him for the sake of Allah. That's it. فقال, and then the angel said to him, فإني رسول الله إليك. He said, I'm the messenger sent by Allah to you. All right, and it's not referring to like the messenger that comes with the as like the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but a messenger that's sent by like a king. You know, you send a messenger with a message. So he said, I'm the messenger that was sent from your Lord. Inna Allah habbaka kama ahbabtuhu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you in the same manner that you love him. So that you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his sake, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you also. All right, so does this mean now, so this person, as this person now, if obviously, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves him, then that means that he has like the foundations of Iman. So what is the actions that he's doing? Is he completing his man through these actions?
Visiting?
Through
visiting?
Yeah.
Completing it?
Is he completing his Iman through these actions? Through this action alone? Is this a part of the completion of Iman? Well, you know when I asked that question with that little grin on my face, you know that this is something that we just took recently. Nammahu Hamid with a tasdeed. It comes from the verb nammat with an alif maksura, but nammahu, the ha here is maf'ulun bih. Come on now, we just took the hadith recently. Not only did we take the hadith in daily hadith, but I've also, even in the live stream, we've gone over this hadith. Where I said, where the Prophet ﷺ said, ثَلَاثَةُ مَنْ كُنَّ فِيهِ وَجَدَ بِهِنَا حَلَاوَةَ الْإِيمَانِ أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواه وأن يحب المرأة لا يحبه إلا لله وأن يكره أن يعود في الكفر بعد أن أنقذه الله منه كما يكره أن يقذف في النار. Where the Prophet ﷺ said, he said 3 things that the person finds them, that he will find the sweetness of Iman. He said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger are more beloved to him than anybody else. وَلْيَحِبُّ الْمَرْأَ لَا يَحِبُّهُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ, and that he loves a man, he loves a person, but he doesn't love him except for the sake of Allah. He only loves him for the sake of Allah. What's this now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we talked about these 3 things, that these 3 things are the halawat al-iman, which is the kamal al-iman. That once the person has that complete iman, he tasted the sweetness, and he tastes the sweetness through these actions, through actions like this. All right, what about this? Is he going to be one of the people deserving the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, inshallah? Huh? Yes or no?
Yes.
Dalil?
I knew he was going to say that. It's, Allah.
It's a daily hadith. I don't know why you're looking in Adab al-Mufrad. It might be in here. I'm not going to say the hadith's not in here. It probably is in here. It might even come here soon. Who knows? Because it definitely should be in here with this material that we're talking about right now, the topic that we're on, but it's not in this topic. Safe. Is he deserving, this guy? Do you think that, inshallah, he'll be deserving of the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment? Huh? Based on the hadith? What are the 7 people?
The one who...
Now start from the beginning. First off, who's the narrator of the hadith? Abu Hurairah. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam called it, Sab'atun yadhillahum Allah fi dhillihi yawma la dhilla illa dhilluh. 7 that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give shade to on the day of judgment, when there's no shade except for the shade that He provides. He provides what? Imamun Adab, wa shabun nasha'a fi ibadatillah. So we got the just ruler, the youngster that grew up in the young person who grew up in the worship of Allah. Wa rajulun qalbuhu mu'allaqun bil masajid, and a man whose heart is connected to the masajid. ورجلان ايش احب في الله اجتمع عليه وايش وتفرق عليه. And two people, they love for the sake of Allah, they come together with the love for the sake of Allah, and they what? And they depart with this. So he's going to visit this brother of his in another village. For what? For what purpose? Because he loves him for the sake of Allah. All right. And this is and like as you see, this is no doubt. I mean, look at the reward that he gets. He earns the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for doing this. And imagine like if the person that you're going to visit, imagine if the person actually has knowledge. And not only are you going to visit the person because you love him for the sake of Allah, but you're also going to learn beneficial knowledge. Now imagine the type of reward that you can get for something like that, and that type of action. Like you already get this type of reward. You're earning the love of Allah just from what? Visiting a brother that you love for the sake of Allah. Just visiting him. You're going to another village, another town, or another city to visit this brother just because you love him for the sake of Allah. That's it. Give him salam, sit down with him, have a chat with him, and get back on your camel and go back home or in your car. All right. So what? What about if he's going for beneficial knowledge? What's the reward for the person who goes out seeking knowledge? Another hadith also from Abu Hurairah. Come on. You hear this in the khutbahs. In fact, the last khutbah that I gave in Madeira, I mentioned this hadith in the khutbah.
I got nothing.
Say. I said. Garfield. Or should we call him by his Spanish name?
Weirdo.
Weirdo. Weirdo. Huh?
Yeah.
Why they call an orange cat white boy? I don't understand that.
Should have orange boy.
Yeah, it should be ginger boy or something like that.
How do you say orange in Spanish?
Or ginger, man. They call him zinjabil. That's what I say. He should be called zinjabil, man. Ginger. I mean, at first I said, look, man, he's big, he's fat, and he's orange. I said, man, that's Donald Trump right there. But I said, that's what we're going to call him. Hey, Trump, come over here.
Yeah.
But nah, like Asad insisted on him being called Garfield. You know, but I was like, oh man, come on, man, you're destroying my fun. Almost done. But anyways, what was the question? Oh yeah. So the hadith of Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu, من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له به طريقا إلى الجنة. So whoever goes out, who seeks, who takes a path, and that path is a path of seeking knowledge, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make easy his path. Because of that path that he took of knowledge, that Allah will make easy his path to Jannah. So now you get the ease of going to Jannah through taking this path of knowledge, and you get the reward for going and visiting a brother. So alhamdulillah, you know, if you can combine between the two, of going and visiting brothers, like you go around America or visit people in different cities because of the knowledge they have, and also you can combine between the two different things. But if not, at least you can get the first one. And just going around and visiting brothers that you love for the sake of Allah. You know, people that are practicing the deen, the people that are calling the tawheed, people that are practicing the sunnah, trying to learn the sunnah and implement the sunnah. And these are the people that you should love for the sake of Allah. We don't love, like, we don't say that we love this person for the sake of Allah and he's listening to music, smoking weed. How can you love a person like that for the sake of Allah? Where is the love for the sake of Allah? Where is it? Can you love a person like that for the sake of Allah? No, because this guy is he's a fasiq. He's completely disobedient and he disobeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala openly. So the love for the sake of Allah is only love but this share between what? It's between two believers. You know? And it could be, you know, a person who's fasiq loves a believer or loves a righteous person for the sake of Allah. Yes, that is a possibility. It came in a hadith where the Prophet sallallahu, I think it's the next hadith. Hold on. Let me see. Because I don't want to go jump ahead of it. Yeah, it's the very next hadith. So the next hadith that we're going to read is going to be the hadith that gives that meaning. Whereas like a person who deems himself not righteous, but he loves the righteous people for the sake of Allah, yes. But a righteous person loving a fasiq for the sake of Allah, no. How can he love him for the sake of Allah and the person is disobedient, openly disobeys Allah, openly disobeys Allah? So in that case, no, there's no love for the sake of Allah unless it's either one, like a person who's not righteous loves the righteous people, or another righteous person loves another righteous person, or people that are trying to be righteous, you know? So yeah, long time. So let's go to the next hadith, so we'll see the other meaning. All right, so this is 162. Babu ar-rajuli yuhibbu qawman wa lamma yalhaq bihim. All right, so this is the chapter, a man, he loves a people, wa lamma yalhaq bihim. Now the word lamma is from the, you know, this is going to be this is a nahu type thing, right? So lamma and lam, if it's used with the fi'l mudari, it's from the jawazim. So that's why you see lamma yalhaq. You notice that it stops. Do you have it written in Arabic or no? You don't have no Arabic in your book? Is it all English?
I have it Arabic, yeah.
So it says lamma yalhaq. It didn't say lamma yalhaqu. It said lamma yalhaq. Because lamma here is from the jawazim. And what it is do, the jawazim here, that you feed a nafi. A nafi, it means that it negates. But lam also negates. So you could say lam yalhaq or lamma yalhaq. But like, look at the diqqa. Like, you look at this, like, how can I say this? The preciseness of Imam al-Bukhari here with his chapter headings. He didn't use the word lam. He used the word lamma. And why do you think that he used that, Saif? Because they both, you feed the nafi. And both of them you feed the nafi fil madi. So we say lam yalhaq, lamma yalhaq, it means what? From before. All right, so when we talk about lam, like for example, lam yadhhab zaydun ila suq. What are we saying in the Arabic language? That Zayd did not go to the store. But this is what you call a nafi al-munqati'. That means for that specific time. That Zayd was supposed to go to the store, وَلَمْ يَذْهَبْ زَيْدٌ إِلَى الدُّكَانِ, or whatever, إِلَى السُّوق. All right, but he didn't go to the market. All right, for that specific time. But if we say لَمَّا يَذْهَبْ زَيْدٌ إِلَى السُّوق, it means even till now, he has not gone. So this is a nafi al-mustamir. fil madi. So it starts in the madi and it goes all the way up to what? Al hadr, until the present time. So it means like lamma yalhaq bihim, it means even till now. From the past until now, he has not been able to achieve what they've achieved, to get to the actions that they've gotten to. So what it's talking about, the Bab or Rajuli yuhibbu qawman. He loves the people. وَلَمَّا يَلْحَقْ بِهِمْ. Lahiqa yalhaqu, it means what? It means in the Arabic language, idrak, adrakahum. Lahiqa shay, it means to catch up to them or to, but here it means catch up to them and their actions. That there are people of righteous actions, وَلَمَّا يَلْحَقْ بِهِمْ. But he's not able to do the actions that they're doing. Even till now, even till the present time, he's not capable of doing the actions that they're doing. So he loves the righteous people, even though he's not able to do the actions that they do. All right, and this is a sign of iman in the person's heart. That even if the person is not considered a righteous person, or he might not be a student of knowledge, or he might not be a person that does all these different like extra acts of ibadah, but he loves the people who do. He has love for them. You know, the ox of what you see with the majority of the people, whenever they see a righteous person, what do? They call them names and they, insult them and everything. But this person, he has love for them, even though he's not, because he doesn't consider himself from amongst them. All right. So this is hadith number 351. حدثنا عبد الله بن مسلمة قال حدثنا سليمان بن المغيرة عن حميد بن هلال عن عبد الله بن الصامت عن أبي ذر رضي الله عنه قال قلت يا رسول الله الرجل يحب القوم ولا يستطيع أن يلحق بعملهم قال أنت يا أبا ذر مع من أحببت قلت إني أحب الله ورسوله قال أنت مع من أحببت يا أبا ذر. So here this hadith is reported on the authority of Abu Dhar, and what he said, I said, O Messenger of Allah, a man, he loves the people, وَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُ أَنْ يَلْحَقَ بِعَمَلِهِمْ, but he's not able to do the actions that they do. He can't catch up with them in actions. And he said, قَالَ أَنْتَ يَا أَبَا ذَرْ مَعَ مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. You, O Abu Dhar, are with the people that you love. You're with the people that you love. In the dunya and inshallah in what? In the akhirah. You'll be with them in the dunya, and if you die on this love for them, and they, this love for khair, and the love for the people of khair, then you'll also, inshallah, be with them in the next life. And then he said, Inni uhibbu Allah wa rasulah. He said, I love Allah and His Messenger. He said, Qala anta ma'a man ahbabta ya Abu Dhar. He said, you are with those whom you love, ya Abu Dhar. So this is the importance of having love for the people of khair, even though we're not able to do the actions that they do. We have love for the ulama, and we'll probably never come to arrive to that level of what they're upon. We probably won't even arrive at the level that they were upon 30 years ago. We won't even get to that level. But we have love for them. We have love for students of knowledge. We have love for the people that call to the sunnah, the people that are righteous, the people that try to live their lives in obedience to Allah. We have love for them, even if we can't do the types of actions that they do. And that's wajib. Because that's a sign of iman in the heart of the person. Because how could you have iman, but then you dislike the people of iman? So like you see these clowns where they always talk about, oh man, you can't judge me on my actions. My iman is in my heart, and only Allah knows what's in my heart. But you hate the people of khair. You hate nasiha. You hate people giving you advice. You hate, when the people try to give you advice from the Quran and the Sunnah. You don't like this. You get, they like tashma'izul nafs, with these people, where like their insides gets real tight whenever they, somebody's trying to give them advice and try to talk to them and try to, motivate them to do good. So how can you say that you have iman, but you have no love for the people of iman? You have no love for the people of khair. So in this case, akhi, this is, everybody has to check their heart, because again, this is wajib. This is an obligation. This is al-wala' wal-bara'. That we have love for the people of khair. We have love for the people of sunnah. We have love for the people of tawheed. And we have hatred for the people of bid'ah. We have hatred for the people of inhiraf. And we have hatred for the people who disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala openly and don't care. We have hatred for kufr. We have hatred for shirk. We have hatred for these things. And we disassociate ourselves from all of these things. So these same people talk about they love Islam. But then when you look at their friends, they're all like smiling and happy, shaking hands like the Brady Bunch, with the kuffar, and then when they come around the Muslims, what? They're all, frowny faced and, looking like they're ready to fight everybody. No, they have no love for the Muslims. You see them with the kuffar aqidah, just like, shining happy people holding hands type thing. Is that some stupid song from the 90s or something? You're too young for that.
2000s.
I've had a bad time today with like old song lyrics from the 80s and 90s popping in my head today. I don't know what's been going on today, but yeah. But I mean, that's the whole thing. You see them all happy and, with Bill, Tom, and Ted, especially Becky. Oh, don't let him get around Becky. Oh boy, you're going to see how happy he is when he gets around Becky. But then when he gets around the Muslims, his demeanor changes. Nah, man, this is a part of al-wala wal-bara. We have love for the people of khair. We have love for the people of the sunnah. We have no love for people who disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala openly, call the kufr, call the shirk, call the bid'ah. A'udhu billah. Alright, so we'll take the last hadith in this chapter, inshallah. 352. Hadathana Muslim, and by the way, that last hadith is sahih. The last hadith is sahih. Hadathana Muslim ibn Ibrahim. قال حدثنا هشام دستوائي قال حدثنا قتادة عن أنس رضي الله عنه أن رجلا سأل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال يا نبي الله متى الساعة؟ فقال ما عددت لها؟ قال ما عددت لها من كبير ولا من كبير إلا أني أحب الله ورسوله. فقال المرء مع من أحب. قال أنس فما رأيت المسلمين فرحوا بعد الإسلام أشد مما فرحوا يومئذ. Come on. You want us to go out or no? No. Alright, so this hadith is reported on the authority of Anas radiallahu anhu. He said a man came and he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فقال يا نبي الله. He said, O Prophet of Allah, متى الساعة? He said, when is the hour? When is the hour going to be established? فقال وما عددت لها. So look at the beauty. Look at the answer of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Instead of just giving him an answer that only Allah knows the establishment of the hour, what did he say? What did he say to him? He said, "Ma a'dadta laha." What have you prepared for it? You're asking about when the hour is coming, and you're so concerned about this, but what have you prepared for it? What have you prepared, like right now, from your righteous actions, from your knowledge, from your obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? For this for the hour to be established, and you have to stand before Allah. What have you prepared for this? So what a beautiful answer. He said, "Qala ma a'dadtu laha min kabir." He said, I have not prepared for it with anything major. Like he said, basically saying, I haven't done any big actions, no great actions or anything like that. I mean, obviously he's a Muslim, so he's fulfilling like obligations that are upon him.
Stepped on his tail.
Yeah, you stepped on his tail.
Now he's mad.
No. He's just trying to find a new safe spot to go and lie down in. He likes that spot in front of Ibrahim, man. He said, "Ma a'dadtu laha min kabir, illa anni uhibbu Allah wa rasulahu." Except he said, but I love Allah and His Messenger. So he said, I haven't prepared for the hour, the establishment of the hour with any major big actions. But he said, but I love Allah and His Messenger. فَقَالَ الْمَرْءُ مَعَ مَنْ أَحَبَّ. He said, a man is with the one whom he loves. قال Anas. So then Anas said, مَا رَأَيْتُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ فَرِحُوا بَعْدَ الْإِسْلَامِ. He said, I have not seen the Muslims that were more excited and more happy after Islam. أَشَدَّ مِمَّا فَرِحُوا يَوْمَئِذٍ. I haven't seen them more excited than I've seen them excited on that day, when the Prophet ﷺ said this. Because here you see this man, he's literally saying, like, I'm not doing a lot of actions, but I have love for Allah and His Messenger. And he said, Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. That a man will be with the one whom he loves on the day of judgment. On the day of judgment, he will be resurrected with the one who he loves. And of course, we always talked about this in regards to love. Your sign of love for Allah and His Messenger is what? Huh? What's the sign of love for Allah and His Messenger?
Obedience.
Huh?
Obedience.
Obedience. All right. Because how are you going to sit there and say that you love Allah and His Messenger and you disobey them? That's not love. That's not love. I love my mother, but I talk back to her and I disrespect her. That's not love. You understand? Your love to Allah and His Messenger is that you put what? You put the legislation that they came with and the rules and regulations that they came with over everything. You can't sit there and say, oh man, I'm not going to do that. You know, it's just sunnah. You know, it's not wajib. Is that showing love for Allah and His Messenger? No, it's showing istighfar. It's showing like you don't care. That you belittle and you're not worried about. You know, so Allah musta'an. You know, your love for Allah and His Messenger, it will come out with your obedience. So if you sit there and openly, constantly disobeying Allah and His Messenger, and then you're saying, but I love Allah and His Messenger, then what will we say to this person? Anta kadhab, akhi, you're a liar. You're not proved nothing. You're not proving it because you would have proven it through what? Through your obedience. But you're not. You're disobeying Allah openly. You know, I love Allah and His Messenger, but I own a smoke shop. Kadhab. I love Allah and His Messenger, but I sell alcohol in my store. Kadhab. I love Allah and His Messenger, but I know the hadiths about having my garments above my ankles, but we live in a different time. Kadhab. I love Allah and His Messenger, but I don't read the Sunnah. I don't try to learn the Sunnah. I don't try to practice and implement this in my life. What? Kadhab. A liar. All right, so the love for Allah and His Messenger, person sit there and obviously you ask any Muslim, right? Go to Masjid Fresno, go to Masjid Badr, go to any masjid, right? And ask the people, do you love Allah? What are you gonna say? Yes, right. How many pages of the Quran do you read every single day? No, crickets, right? But ask them how much time they spend watching the news, listening to podcasts on YouTube, listening to music, following politics. Then you'll see different. That's what you love. The thing that you spend the most time doing, that's what you love. The thing that you're like, you can't, your day, you can't go without it, that's the thing that you love. It's not obviously it's not Allah, because if you loved Allah, you would love His speech. And you will be trying to read His speech every single day for as much as you can. Then ask them, do you love the Messenger of Allah? What are they going to say? Yes, I love the Messenger of Allah. How many pages of the Sunnah, the books of Sunnah, have you read in your entire life? Forget today, forget this week, forget this month. How many pages of any book of the Sunnah have you read in your entire life? Yeah, akhi, not one. It'd probably be rare to find a person who's even read Riyadh al-Salihin or Bulugh al-Maram. You understand? Forget Bukhari, Muslim, and all the other books of hadith. So it's like, okay, do you really love the Messenger so much that you're trying to find out and get all this knowledge about him that you don't even care about reading the Sunnah? Nah, that's again, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. But you can't lie to the people because why? Your actions. Your actions are what's going to speak out to the people and tell the truth. Our actions tell the truth about ourselves. And whatever you see, whatever you love is what you spend the most time doing on a daily basis. Now, I'm not talking about you going out and working and getting a living, because most of the time you're doing something that you don't love. You're working. You're just trying to get money. This is just something that you can do. But that free time that you have after when you're outside of work, what do you spend it on? What do you spend it doing? Are you trying to get knowledge? Are you spending it with your family? Because everybody's going to say, I love my family. You love your family, but you never spend any time with them, right? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing, nothing. So again, it's all our actions, our actions speak the truth about us, man. They speak the truth about us, So we don't have to sit here and just like, if we want to really know the truth about ourselves, all we got to do is just what? Take account of our actions and look at, seriously, just sit back and look at your actions on a daily basis. How much time are you spending on social media with nothing? For no benefit whatsoever. That's the thing that you love. You can sit on social media and go back and forth with people, back and forth, or watch the dumbest videos. Like, look at this cat drinking out of a toilet. You watch the dumbest videos. Hey, and I know we all done this before. I called acid in the room. Hey, look at this panda falling out of a tree. But you spend, 30 minutes watching pandas fall out of a tree? Or what? Or people making, trying to do a skateboard trick and busting his backside on the ground. You watch these videos for 30 minutes, but you can't even read one juz of the Quran. You understand? So, think about it, akhi. The thing that we spend our time on, that's the thing that we love. That's it, you know. And if you love to waste your time, like some people, they have hobbies. They have things that they like to do. It might not be knowledge. Maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's a sport. Maybe it's building things with their hands or something like that. But at least it's something beneficial in their dunya, right? But what about a person who just like his love is just wasting time? Yahi, you're a loser. Yahi, you know what I'm saying? Just point blank, you're a loser. I mean, because what are you gonna get out of that? What all that time that you're spending on social media, browsing and watching stupid videos and going back and forth with people that you probably never meet and with no benefit whatsoever, what could you have been doing with that time other than what you were doing? What? How many other beneficial things could you have been doing to prepare for the akhirah or even to make your dunya, the life of this world, better for you? You could be working on another skill so you can find a better job that you make more money at. Something, you could be doing something with your time. But then you got the people that just don't do anything. They love to do what?
Nothing.
Just nothing. They just love to waste their time. They love to live in an imaginary world, watching movies and what? Twiddle their thumbs, whatever,
Lollygag. Lollygag.
Yeah. I saw this funny thing on social media one time. What was it? I can't remember, man. It was like one of the things I just happened to pass by, I think when I was in Saudi Arabia. This guy wrote like a funny thing, right? He said like if you only had like the small amount of the life, like maybe like 8 hours or something like that. 8 hours of your life left. What would you spend it on? Like and you could only watch one thing from Netflix. What would it be? You see the stupidity of the people. First off, if you only had 8 hours left of your life, what would you be watching TV for? That would be the stupidest thing. But this is kufar, right? So, but what was the truest answer? I mean, I'm dumb. I said, okay, let me read the comments, whatever. This is one of those days I was just like not in the mood to read anything. So I said, let me read the comments. What was the truest comment? He said, I would spend those last 8 hours of my life trying to pick a movie out to watch.
Wow.
Yeah, because he would never ever come to a decision. I would spend the 8 hours just trying to decide what I wanted to watch. And then I would die. Truest answer, right? But the answer that true comes from a person who what? That's how he spends his life.
Yeah.
That's it. How could he answer the question like that except for that's how he lives his life? So, come on, man. That's really what you want? Is that what we all want for our lives? Look, we all go through like little times of like this futur, even when you're seeking knowledge, Akhi, you go through this time where you just like kind of burn out. You just need a break, you know what I'm saying? But you have to use hikmah when you're doing these types of things. Why? Because you need a break. You need to rest. You need to go out and just change it up and switch it up. And the Maj, we used to just go up whenever I felt like that. I'd grab a bottle of water, a Rambo knife, and I go up to the mountains. I just go up and just hike up in the mountains for like hours. Come back in, come back down, and like lunchtime, I will leave after Fajr, come back at lunch. So I'll be up there for like maybe 6-7 hours. Come back in, eat lunch, sleep all the way up until Asr. And then go back to the class and class. That's it. But you just sometimes you got to get that break. But what happens with a lot of people is they take too long. They take too long of a break. And then they start to get accustomed to doing what?
Doing nothing.
Doing nothing. Relaxing for a long time. And then he's like, tomorrow, I'll get back on it tomorrow. I'll start back tomorrow. Yeah, then like what? 6 months have gone by and he's achieved nothing. And this happens with a lot of people. All it takes for a lot of people, because they're so disorganized with their life, all they have to do is miss one class.
And they end up losing with the Mufrad.
Yeah. And then going back and starting all over from the beginning again. And a lot of this, I'm telling you, so many people that like disorganized with their life, all it takes is to miss one class. Like some people, they miss one class. And instead of just saying, okay, I messed up, I missed the class, I was lazy, I'm going to get back on it tomorrow. You call up the people, you get in touch with people that were in the class. What do we take? Let me get the notes. And then you get back in the class the next day. Some people, khalas, they can't. All right, well, I already missed a day. Let me take another day off, and then I'll get back started on. And then it's like, well, I've already missed most of this week. Let me go ahead and take the week off. I'll get started back on Saturday or on Monday or whatever. And then what happens? It's gone. Then he goes on this like 6-month hiatus of doing nothing. And then finally, somehow he hears some talk or gets motivated again. He's like, I got to get back going again. And then he goes back and he's back into class again, starting over from the beginning. Until what?
Same thing happens.
Until the same thing happens again. And the next thing you know, he's spending 3, 4 years of his life, 5 years of his life, still going like a dog chasing his tail. You know what I'm saying? He can't get out of this circle. You know, the only way that you ever be able to get out of that circle, you have to change that. Like all that, like wasting time and this love for comfort and all this type of stuff, it has to change. Because you have two choices, right? You know, for the Muslim, like a real mu'min, he'll never truly have enjoyment in this life. Not saying that you're not going to have good things. You have good times in your life, right? You get married, you have children. These are all great things, right? You know, these are beautiful things in the life. But you're always going to also, along with those types of things, with these good things, you're also going to have what? Difficulties and hardships and things like that. And it's going to happen. You're a believer. The time that you can truly rest and be at peace is when? When you die and that angel comes to you and say, you come out with the glad tidings of your Lord. Then you relax and you can take, that's it. Now I'm taking eternity off, Akhi. I'm chilling. You know, but as long as you're in this dunya, you ain't got no time. There's no time for us to just chill. You know, because life is too short for that. And we spend, if we go back and do an account of how much, if we could literally just have, somebody just send us an account of like where we spend our time over the last 10, 15 years. Akhi, wallahi, I think we would be like, wow. It's similar to like with my son, right? My son has got diabetes now. So what does that mean? That means now I have to go and I have to count up all the carbohydrates of everything that he eats. So now there's a lot of food that we used to eat. You know, he wants these things, right? Because, he still wants foods that we used to eat. But now when I see the number of carbohydrates, I'm like, wow, how can we eat the carbohydrates that we used to eat and all the food? Healthy, oh my God, we were eating like that. But why did I see it? Because of what he's going. Same thing with us. We're doing the same thing with our time, Akhi. We don't see it. We don't see it until something comes down, some hammer comes down, and then we start to realize how much time we waste. Unfortunately, for the majority of the people, the vast majority, you're talking about 99%, 99.999999995% of the people, when are they going to realize all the time they wasted? At the time of death. Either one, they're going to get really sick, and they're going to die, like a sickness that leads to death, or they just die. And then they realize all the time that they've wasted in this life.
Get the hell off me.
What is that? A fly.
I'm going on that thing like 5 times and it just didn't do nothing.
Right here. He's right here.
Yeah.
He's just going to different places.
The plop.
Because now it's so hot in here because we turned off the AC. So he's not comfortable either. He's like, man, y'all let me back outside, man. It's actually cooler outside. We should start doing the classes outside now. Mm-hmm. All right, any questions, inshallah? We're not doing Sharia tonight, man. I didn't even pick up the books.
Where is it at? Alright. Hamid asks, Ustad, can you give azan in your home even though there's masjids that do it?
It's not necessary. Unless you live in like a town where there's no masjid, and then it's an obligation. But if the masjids are already calling the adhan and it's established, the adhan has been called in that area, then it's fine. I mean, you don't have to. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. But if you're in an area like a town, there's no masjid. Let's say you live out in some small town in Nebraska or something like that, or Omaha or something like Idaho. All right, and there's no Muslims, no masjid. I mean, I wouldn't say there's no Muslims, but there's no masjid. In that case, then you'd have to. This becomes an obligation. You have to call the adhan because you're not sure if the adhan is being called. So the fact that the adhan is actually being called in the area, that's why you could just call the iqamah and pray in your house. You don't like the women praying in the house; they just pray. They don't, when they hear the adhan, they pray. You don't have to call the adhan in the house. But like I said, if you're in those areas where the adhan is not being called in the masjid, then you have to.
So do you have to call the iqamah?
Yes.
Wajib? Why?
Because it's iqamat salat.
It's the
It means it's the establishment of the prayer. Especially when you're praying with other people, you always do the establishment of prayer. some of the people differ with that. Like if you're praying alone,
Yeah, if you're just praying by yourself.
I would still do it. I still do it. There was a time where I stopped doing it because of the ikhtilaf, but I went back to doing it. So I don't. Allah knows best. I feel safer that way.
What is Mubaz say?
I don't know. It doesn't matter what Sheikh Mubaz says because Muhammad James has to answer for Muhammad James. Muhammad James doesn't answer for Sheikh Mubaz, you know. So it's my actions, is what I do. I gotta go with the actions that I feel is closest to the truth.
What's the procedure for a revert to Islam or one who wishes to marry one is female and doesn't have any Muslim community or any Muslim
Start again because I didn't understand the first one.
Yeah, what's the procedure for a revert to Islam or one who wishes to marry one is female and doesn't have any Muslim community or any Muslim family or male relatives?
That's a difficult situation. I don't know.
What's the question? I don't understand it.
Is there
You're
asking
saying how do they convert to Islam?
No. They already converted to Islam.
The girl is in a place, she's a female, and she's in a place where there's no Muslim community. And she wants to get married, and she's saying, like, how does she go about getting married legally in Islam? And that's a very difficult situation because obviously for the girl to get married, the first thing that she needs to establish is a wali. If she doesn't have any Muslims in her family, then that has to be established through an authority figure. An authority figure. Let me get that straight. Because some people don't seem to understand this. All right, because the Prophet ﷺ, what did he say? And we took this hadith in Bulugh al-Maram last year. You know, when we were going through the Kitab al-Nikah in Bulugh al-Maram. You know, the Prophet ﷺ said, a sultan waliyun liman la waliya lahu. All right, so he said that the sultan, which means the leader, the ruler, the authority figure, this could be a judge, or this could be the actual ruler. He mentioned the sultan because the judges are put in place by who? Who are they given authority by? By the ruler. So the judges and all the people below the sultan, they're given the authority figure. Now, obviously, a sultan, the leader of a Muslim ruler, the ruler, is not going to have the time to be the wali of a female. So he appoints the judges and other people to do this, and then they become the wali for the female. Now, being that we live in America, we don't have judges. We don't have this type of system of, we don't have Islamic courts. We don't have any of this established in the West, period. So being that, you know, that's the reality of our situation, then the person who's the authority, the biggest authority of knowledge in that area, that will be the person that she goes to, and that person has to function as the wali for that woman. You know, he'll be the wali. So first, she needs to establish that before she can, you know, marriage, because she can't go around just like talking to dudes and dudes talking to her. No, you know, if a man wants to marry her, he goes and he talks to the wali. If he gets in contact with her first, she gives him the number to the wali and he contacts the wali, and all the conversation goes through the wali. You know, so like I said, that situation for her is very difficult, and Allah make it easy for her. You know, obviously the easiest thing to do is get in contact with the closest Muslim community and let them know of your situation. You know, and preferably that it be the closest Muslim community that is trying its best to be on the Sunnah. You know, because obviously that's difficult because we're all, you know, you go throughout America and the majority of the messages, what?
Is not.
They could care less about being on the Sunnah, you know. So they're more, it's all about money, and, you know, it's just the messages are corporations. That's all they are. You know, so Allah Mustaan. So that's the only advice that I could give her, you know. Allah make it easier.
If she talks to, like, the guy she wants to marry, and it's not through the wali, does it really invalidate the marriage?
It won't invalidate the marriage, but you're messing up the barakah. You're messing up the blessing of the marriage. You know, the blessing and the barakah of the marriage is that you go from you know, from the first minute that you do it on the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger. You're not doing it through disobedience. If you already started through disobedience, you're already getting off on the wrong foot. Okay, now if you have started like that, now you understand that this is not permissible. Okay, tell you, make tawbah and stop doing what you're doing. You know, make tawbah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, will wipe out those bad sins and still put the barakah in the marriage. But you have to You have to do it through the obedience to Allah, His messenger. You know, going this route, it's not permissible. It's not going to make your life any easier. You know, so Allah Musta'an. How many people now they've gone this route and they've gotten married through like websites and things like this, and what? And their lives became like a living chaos. Chaos. So Allah Musta'an.
So what about, okay,
They ain't got nobody to blame but themselves. Okay, they took the route of disobedience, and they got what they got. You know.
okay, so two Muslims, they're fornicators. They fornicate with each other. Okay, but they leave off the sin, they make tawbah, and they want to get married. But like they still had communication, not physical or seeing each other, but just texting, and then they go to get married.
If somebody came to me
But is their marriage
and
still
said
valid?
like, I used to fornicate with this girl, I'm not, like, get out, go find somebody else to do this. I got nothing to do with this. Even if they made tawbah, that's fine. That's between them and Allah, their tawbah, but I have nothing to do with that marriage. Because once they've already admitted that they fornicated, how do I know that they haven't been doing that recently? I have nothing to do with that. Because if they haven't made tawbah from that and they get married, then their marriage is invalid. It's invalid. And they're still fornicating.
But I'm saying so, right? They make tawbah for the fornication, but they still text. But they
No,
don't
that's
fornicate.
not making tawbah.
Yeah, that's what I was
Because that's
asking.
from the asbab of fornication. That's the opening of the doors. So when you make tawbah from fornication, you have to make tawbah from the fornication, everything that goes along with it. So you're not just, there's things that led you to that led you up to that fornication. The fornication was the tip of the iceberg, the pinnacle, the mountaintop. But there was a trek that you had to go up that mountain to get there, right? So you need to avoid all of that stuff. And that's talking to the girls, staring at the girls, getting giggly and googly with the girls, And she establishes a wali. And even though you fornicated with her and you've had these relations with her, now you've left her. You've broken off the relationship. You made tawbah, she made tawbah. She gets a wali and you contact the wali. Just because you have these former relations with her does not make it permissible for you to talk to her. So,
But talking to her, it would, like, cancel out your tawbah.
No, it would cancel, no, it wouldn't cancel out the tawbah, inshallah.
For the fornication.
No.
So, if they
But
did,
it's definitely going to keep you in a state of, like, how sincere was your tawbah?
yeah, but so,
You know what I'm saying?
let's just say even they did text, then they go to get married. After they made tawbah for the
No, but that's what I'm saying. They're playing games. I think.
Is their marriage valid though?
Allah. I mean, as far as like on the zahir, their marriage is valid. But like for me, if I knew all that, I would not assist in it. I'd tell them just go to somebody else. Go to somebody else. I'm not gonna assist in that type of thing. Because if they're known for once you, all right, if you made tawbah from fornicating, you cut off all connections with that girl. It's over. Now, if you want to go back, like you made tawbah, she's made tawbah, you've been practicing the deen, she's been practicing the deen. Now you decide, hey, I want to marry her. Contact her wali and marry her correctly in Islam. You don't contact just because you had those relationships with her before. That doesn't make it permissible for you to do it, and you still, you're still sinful for that. So no, don't do it.
Jakardish is asking, what is the proper arrangement for a meeting between a suitor and a woman who doesn't have a wali?
I mean, that's the first thing that she has to establish is the wali. Because there's no nikah, illa bi wali. La nikah illa bi wali. There's no marriage except for what? With a wali. So that's the very first thing that she needs to establish. So there is no suitor, there is no nothing without the wali. So if she doesn't have the wali, I mean, in this case, like a girl who was born in a family, there's no Muslims in her family. And she like this situation where she lives in an area where there's no masjids, there's no, and this does exist in America.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, but still, the very first thing that she needs to establish is the wali. So she needs to contact, I guess she's going to have to contact different imams around that area and try to establish that first, and then she can go about like setting up, because the suitor is going to contact the wali. He's not going to contact her. And if he does contact her because it's permissible for him to see her, to ask her questions, but he's going to do that in the presence of the wali. So obviously, if they're all living in different cities, the wali is in this city, the girl is in this city, the guy's over in that city, then I mean they'll do it through like something like what? Some app or something on the phone. I don't know, like WhatsApp or I don't know what can you do like on a video call. What do you use? FaceTime or whatever. You're gonna do it like that with the wali present, but it's not permissible for him to talk to her without the presence of the wali. So that's I mean that's it.
What about
that needs to be established at the very get-go.
Group chat with the wali and the girl?
Yeah, as long as the wali's present. As long as the wali's present, the guy's not just sitting there chit-chatting with the girl open.
Jagardis is asking, is it sufficient for the girl to meet the suitor in the presence of her mother, or should another man also be present? Is the presence of
wali? The mother is not the wali. It's got to be the wali.
Okay.
Can't be another man. It has to be the wali. Unless the father, like let's say that the father's the wali, and he's busy. This was the case when I got married to their mother. And no, let me see. No, the father was there. But the father was there the first time, but then he appointed the brothers to be there every other time that I came to the house. So, but the first time he was there. But nah, that's it. If the father's busy, he can appoint one of the older brothers or maybe his brother, like her uncle, or somebody to act on his behalf. And this would be a wakil. So it'd be, yuwakil lahu, to act on his behalf. But other than that, no, he has to be present. He has to be present, or his wakil has to be present. But to go and like meet with the girl's mother, or even like the younger brother who hasn't reached the age of puberty, or any of these types of things, no, it's not permissible. That's not how it works. It has to be with the wali.
Okay. Because
how do we know? Like honestly, how do you know? In the end, who's going to be giving this girl to you? Who? The wali, right? The father, the brother, the uncle, whoever is the wali of that girl at that time. All right. So how do we know if the father is even in agreement with this marriage in the first place if he's not present? The mother might be in agreement, but the father might not be in agreement. So you go and you meet the girl with the mother, then you find out later on that the father was not in agreement. Akhi, you just wasted time. You just wasted a whole bunch of time. You went and saw the girl and talked to the girl and laughed with the girl and her mother and, had a good old time. And then what? The father's not even in agreement. The wali, no, that's why it's important that the wali has to be present. And everything goes through him. He's going to be the one giving the girl to the man. It's his. The only two people that have to be present at the marriage are who? The man getting married. No, the girl does not even have to be present. The girl could be in China when the marriage happens. She does not even have to be in the same planet. You understand? She could be hanging out on the moon, sticking another flag. Well, obviously, they never stuck a flag on the moon. The first flag was like in Nevada. It wasn't really on the moon. But oh my God, now we're gonna get the video taken down. But anyway, so anyways, before we go into conspiracy theories, what was I saying?
About how the girl doesn't need to be there.
She doesn't have to be there. The only two people that have to be there are the man, the wali, and the man getting married. That's it. That's the only two people that is wajib. Huh? Yeah, everybody else that's there, judge does not need to be there. The two witnesses do not need, that's not an obligation. But obviously having two witnesses is better as far as the deen is concerned. Just to make sure that, okay, you have witnesses to it and it's clear. I got to go give him the medicine real fast, inshallah.
Can humans go to space?
No. Absolutely not. And honestly, I doubt, I'm not. The people that
The U.S. was losing the space race to the USSR.
Imam Shafiqi rahimahullah even refuted that.
To go to space?
Otherwise, yeah.
The USSR was beating the U.S. in the space race. The U.S. was desperate, so they had to make up a lie and say, "Oh, we went to the moon." been to the spaceship, but we never been to the moon ever since. We never allegedly been to the moon ever since. Because now they're saying we don't have the technology. How do we not have the technology for it? So we can do your recitation.
Idris,
Yeah.
go recite Surah Al-Buruj.
I don't have memorized.
Recite what you have memorized. They want to hear you recite. They want to hear you recite. Just go.
Nobody's telling me to recite.
Yeah, I mean, just said.
Idris, bismillah. Two will when you're imam. Will when you're imam. I don't get it. I mean, what are you saying? You will when you're imam.
He's gonna stay in the room with the air conditioner. At least that's good. My room will be cool when I get to it.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. We're about to go back home. Alright. Oh, there was a... What?
You want to know what Imam Shokani said?
It wasn't Shokani, it was Shankiti. I don't know, inshallah, when I get back to it, because right now I'm about to finish the first volume. And inshallah, if I get to the second, it should be in the second volume, because like right now, I'm on the tafsir of Surah Al-Ma'idah. So he talked about that in the tafsir of Surah Al-An'am. So when I get to it, I wrote it on Facebook a long time ago, but I can't remember the exact wording. But he just basically called them liars. I'll read it, inshallah, once I get to it.
So why can't nobody go to space?
Huh?
Why can't nobody go to space?
There's no such thing as space.
I know, I'm just asking for them.
It's nothing. I mean, we spoke about this before. And I'm not going to go back into this issue again. We spoke about this before on a live stream, if I'm not mistaken. To call it space is you have to doubt the Islam of somebody who even refers to anything that's above the dunya as space. It's not a space. It's not just empty. It's sab'a samawat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created as 7 heavens. And we talked about the hadith of the person who, the guy when he dies and he goes up, in the first heaven, and, they get to the end of the sama' dunya, to the end of the first sky, which is the sky of the dunya, and they have to get permission to go through. So what the astronauts or what? The astronauts got permission. Did they contact the angels at the door of the ends of the skies and got permission? They themselves have admitted that they have not left this strata. They have not left the Earth's atmosphere. They have admitted it over and over and over again. So all this stuff is a bunch of they're kuffar, and you understand what is the meaning of kafara in the Arabic language? Because we talked about this before. Because the word kafir and kuffar, it also refers to farmers. The original word in the Arabic language, it refers to what?
To covering.
To cover. Because kafar is to cover. Because yakfirun al-budur, and yasturunaha. They take the seeds and they cover them up with the ground. But what does the kuffar do? The kuffar yasturun al-haqq bil-ish, bil-batil. They cover up the truth with falsehood. So the asl of anything that the kuffar say is what? Any khabar that we cannot prove a tawakkuf fi. So the kuffar say they've gone to the moon. Do we believe them? No. Do we disbelieve them? No. But if we could prove that they haven't, then that's what we believe. So again, it goes back to what? We don't believe the akhbar of the kuffar. Ever. You understand? We don't, but at the same time, we can't just say they're liars, because we need to know if there's something that we have evidence against them that this is impossible, it's not true. Because they're lying, and we don't believe them. But if we're not sure, we don't have the evidence, tawakkuf. We just what? We don't say they're lying, and we don't say they're telling the truth. We just what? We stay neutral until we know the truth, until we know whether it's true or not. But the kuffar, their asl is what? Lying. He's lying. It's not a politician on the face of this earth that you could say that's an honest man. I mean, not a politician. I mean, not a politician on the face of this earth that you can call an honest man right now. Politician. I did not say kafir Muslim. I said a politician. Whatever his religion is. Even a Muslim politician, you cannot say that's an honest man. Period. So, khalas, that's just the reality. You know, that's the reality. Huh? It's the cat or what?
Yes, the cat. She's right down the screen.
Who?
The cat.
He or she?
Huh?
Did you call it a she?
No, I said he.
I'm about to say you definitely should call it a he.
Yeah.
There is no doubt in the world. Like, he couldn't even come out and say I identify as something else, because his junk is on display 24 hours a day, dude. All his tail goes up, and there's no doubt in the world what that cat is. But anyways, a long time.
So is there planets like Venus and Saturn?
They're stars. A Kawakib is a big star. That's all it is. It's not a physical planet. Anybody, and people are taking these, man,
Wow.
Stop asking these questions, Akhi, because wallahi, you're going to get the videos. The video's going to get taken down.
Okay.
And in the end, there's no benefit in the deen as far as this. Like I said, period. Point blank, the kuffar are liars. Period. This is our stance in anything that the kuffar say, a tawakkuf fiha. We don't say they're lying, we don't say they're telling the truth, we don't believe it, we don't disbelieve it until we have evidence. Alright, what we have from the Quran and the Sunnah, khalas, that's sufficient for us. And we don't go around trying to validate what's in the Quran based on the science of these kuffar. Nah, we don't do that. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran is the truth. Whether these kuffar agree with it or not, whether they do, because they're liars. And the majority of the scientists that work for the government, they work for the government. They're paid to say things that they're paid to say. Period. Khalas. I mean, there's a lot more that I could say about that, but I'm not going to. There's brothers that have had family that worked in certain areas in the world where, you know, where I could talk about, but I'm not going to talk about, because again, we're going to get this video flagged for misinformation and blah 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 blah, and it's going to get taken down.
It's going to have a description.
And then we're going to get a strike against the channel. And it's again, there's no, I mean, what the qaida is clear. The principle that we live by is that what we don't believe what they say. They come up and they say that this is, you know, take this, you know, this, you know, injection, and you know it's gonna save your life. No, we don't believe it, and we don't believe them in anything that they say. We don't take them at their word. They're liars. They're liars. They're known to be liars. I mean, wallahi, when have you ever met a kafir that always told the truth? I mean, they amongst themselves say everybody lies. Everybody. No, not everybody lies. Y'all lie. You know. So Allah musta'an.
During a marriage meeting, can the female show her face?
In the presence of the wedding. Yeah.
This is a different topic, but it's getting lost in the comments. Zul is asking, is drop shipping and day trading halal stocks and crypto halal?
Yeah, I would honestly, anything that is crypto, I stay away from it. I would stay away from it. Anything involved in the stock market, I would stay away from it. I mean, and like I said, this is another thing that I can't go into detail on, because if I go into detail about it, again, the video will be flagged and then the video will be taken down. But like I said, in the end, I would stay away from it. Because let's just say that all those stocks that you own, you don't really own them. I'll just leave it at that. You know, I'll just leave it at that. And if any emergency ever happens in this country, they're going to snatch all that stuff away from the people. You don't own anything anyway. So, khalas.
During the marriage meeting, is it impermissible for the girl to uncover her face if the suitor's father is there?
Talking about is it impermissible? If the father doesn't allow the guy to...
If the suitor's father is there.
It's not permissible for the suitor's father to see her at that time. He's not... No, it's only permissible for the man that's going to get married. Yeah. What is he going to see? What is he going to see the girl for? It's not none of his business. He can bring his mother, and the mother can see the girl. That's what the Yemenis do anyways. The Yemenis, the mother is the first one that she goes and she sits with the girl. Because that way the girl can like uncover her hair and, be comfortable, and the mother sees her. What does the man need to see her? Now that's, once they get married, then the man can, he can see her as she is in the house. But not at that time because they're not married. No. Just show her off to the whole family. Bring the uncles and the cousins and everybody, hey, check her out. Should I marry her?
That's like some crackhead energy.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that word in this live stream today. I'm going to disappoint Muhammad Fatima today. I'm going to try to make it this whole entire live stream without saying that word.
Why do your students always want a burger?
I think because Hamza's motivated them to love In-N-Out. I don't know. Hamza was the biggest motivation for In-N-Out, not just for the students, even for my children. So, I don't know. You guys still want burgers? You don't talk about burgers no more.
I don't like it.
It was mostly just, it was Hamza all the time with the In-N-Out stuff.
I just always put in the chat that I want a burger.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah.
But I know, most of the time, nobody's going out and getting no burgers. I don't even remember the last time I had one. I think the last burger we had was what, in the hospital, right? Yeah, it's in the hospital.
Is In-N-Out halal?
Huh?
Is In-N-Out halal?
What's that?
Is In-N-Out halal? Their meat.
Yeah, if you call up, I'm pretty sure if you called up the factory and found out what they did to that meat and how they slaughtered it, then it won't be halal anymore. So.
But what about like, because they said that you can't like.
You can eat the meat of the people of the book if it's slaughtered.
Yeah, but you can't prove
and
it.
The name of Allah is pronounced over it.
This, every piece of meat they get is slaughtered through like
it's not. I don't think any of that meat is slaughtered at all. None of it.
So.
But I'm saying we're not sure. We have to call the factory. So for me, sometimes I don't eat In-N-Out anyways. But I'm just saying sometimes it's better. If what you don't know, I mean, you go on the general precept, the concept that what the meat of Ahlul Kitab is halal. But once you find out that this is what they do with it, then it's no longer what? It's no longer halal. Halal.
So what about the one who does muta marriage? What happens to him?
What are you talking about?
What happens to the one who does muta marriage?
Well, you're just jumping all over the place, Afi. Are
That
these questions from the?
That was Muhammad Fatima's
Are these questions from here?
She wants to know.
Yeah.
Can you do it? Can you do a muta marriage?
No, he's a fornicator. Muta.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fornication.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime that you have a marriage with a timeline on it, you understand? That's muta. Khalas. That's not permissible. It's invalid. Two people commit fornication. Yeah.
What if they like they don't know that it's like no one made it clear to them, right? It's cultural because the Shias do it, right?
Yeah, but everybody. I've never met a Sunni, a person who claims to be Sunni. Because like I said, real Sunni, it means that you follow the Sunni.
Yeah.
But I mean, a person who claims to be Sunni, I've never met one that said that muta is halal.
Yeah.
And nobody would, I mean, all you'd have to think about is this. Okay, a man would love to do muta, but he would hate to have somebody do it with his daughter, wouldn't he? That shows you his true feelings about muta. Is his desires, it's people following their desires. Because if he wants to do it, but if it happened to his daughter, Akhi, he'd bring out the AR-15 and try to shoot up the place, Akhi. Come on.
Yeah, that's a guy. That is a boy.
Yeah, now you see what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
There is no doubt what this cat is.
Yeah.
This cat comes around talking about I identify as a girl. Well, let me get the scissors and help you out, help your identity. Almost time because you can't identify with no girl with that.
In America, most don't want to get married because they're afraid of divorce.
Yes.
So, you stop doing something in the deen because you're afraid of what? Well, you don't have any trust with Allah. You pray istikhara and you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to do what? He's going to leave you. He's going to cause something bad to befall you. Akhi, the majority of the divorces that happen in the West is because they're not doing things properly. The marriages are not properly. The vast majority of the marriages are not even valid. One, because the Muslim himself, we're Muslims. Our duty, our job as a Muslim is before we undertake any action is to do what? Get knowledge. It is, again, we go back to that first page, that first 2 pages of Al-Usul al-Thalatha. All right, we talked about in the last class, I think it was, right? We talked about that. إعلم رحمك الله أنه يجب علينا تعلم أربع مسائل, right? العلم الأولى هو العلم وما هو معرفة. All right, tell you, we talked about that. Go down past the statement of Imam al-Shafi'i. Go down to the statement of Imam al-Bukhari. What did he say? قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى الباب العلم قبل القول والعمل. So here he's talking about what? The chapter of Imam Bukhari, he said the knowledge precedes statements and actions. We do not act in this religion without knowledge. If you want to go get married, it is your responsibility as a Muslim, man and female, to go and to learn the basic understanding of the laws and legislation of marriage. It is not that difficult. You know how long it takes you to read the entire Kitab al-Nikah and Kitab al-Talaq and all these chapters of marriage and Bulugh al-Maram? It takes about 45 minutes to read the whole thing. All right, how long do you think that it will take you to memorize and study? Maybe what, a few months? Less? Okay, tell you what, that's not important to you. So the fact that the people are not getting this knowledge and they're going into the marriages blind with no concern. Yeah, everything in this deen is laid out for us. It's laid out. We have laws and legislation and rules and regulations for every single act in this deen. Learn it. That's your duty. You don't want to learn it, then you have nobody to blame but yourself when everything goes wrong. So you want to go get married and you're afraid of divorce. Number one, learn the knowledge. Learn what you need to learn about the laws and regulations and the legislation in regards to marriage and divorce, and the support for the family, and who gets the custody of the children. All of this stuff, just go learn it. It's very easy. You learn all this other stuff. You spend all your time learning how to function on technology, which is way more difficult than learning this stuff in the religion. This is easy. I'm not a smart person. I went out and learned it. Akhi, you can learn it too. I was the one. I failed. Akhi, I can show you my high school transcripts right now. F. I mean, come on. What, I learned it. You can't learn it too. So that's the whole point. The Muslims, they don't put this emphasis on knowledge anymore. Now, do I blame the Muslims? Yes and no. Who do I really blame? The charlatan clowns and the word that I'm not going to say today, that are heads of the masjids that are not teaching the people. And when somebody is trying to teach the people, they run them out. They run them out because they don't want this person telling the truth about the garbage that they're doing. Because they're doing haram and they continue to do haram and they don't want somebody exposing that haram. And that's what happens. So when the person that has the knowledge and the person that's trying to teach the people, they run them out. They run them out. That's why you see so many students of knowledge, akhi, that can't even subhanAllah, they won't even let them talk in the masjid. Why? Because of that. Because they're afraid of what they're going to say. So it's your job. Get the knowledge. You go into a marriage, you go in with knowledge. Well, you know what's halal, you know what's haram, you know what validates the marriage, and you know what invalidates the marriage. Akhi, this is your life. You messed up, and who do you have to blame? You can't blame the imam on the day of judgment. You blame yourself, akhi, because you're the one who undertook this action without knowledge. It's your job to go out and seek the knowledge. So go seek it. And then before you get married, pray istikhara. And have husna dhan billah. And have good thoughts with Allah when you're going into these endeavors. Inshallah, bi khair. And then if Allah tests you, so Allah tests you. Allah tests you with divorce. Okay, does that mean that the second wife is going to be horrible? Okay, we all had to go through trials and tribulations. Khalas. Think about all the sins that we committed in our past with women. And consider this as a purification from those sins, inshallah. If you have to go through something. But go into it with what? With knowledge. With istikhara, with tawakkul ala Allah, with good thoughts with Allah, putting your trust in Allah. And inshallah khair, Any other questions?
Is signing a prenup permissible?
As far as in America, it's permissible because the woman, the only haq that she has is the haq that she has. She has no right to the man's money after their divorce. So signing a prenup, if that's the only way that you can keep her from getting the money after the divorce, then sign it. But that's the only legal grounds that you have to keep her from doing that, because she has no rights. Once you're divorced, the only ones that have the rights are the kids. So the support, whatever money, it goes to the children. It doesn't go to the wife. The wife has no rights over that money. She goes back to her family, and they support her. But the children are his responsibility after the divorce. So as long as he supports his children and gives the children what they need, khalas, he's fulfilled his obligation. The child support.
What is a prenup?
Prenup is an agreement before the marriage that she gets nothing after the marriage.
If the man makes sujood tilawa during salah with some sisters,
because it's a prenuptial agreement.
Yeah.
It means before marriage, an agreement before marriage. So whatever you write in that agreement, both of you sign it, and khalas, it's binding during the marriage, after the marriage, with divorce. Yeah.
If the man makes sujood tilawa during salah with some sisters who are behind a partition, don't realize until after the prayer, is the prayer valid?
Prayer is valid for them because they didn't know. But if the men are making sujood and they're afraid that the women can't hear and the women are behind a partition, then the men in the last row should say Allahu Akbar, Sami Allahu liman hamid, say it out loud so they can hear, and that they know when to move. Because sometimes maybe there's problems with the microphone or something of that case. Khalas. See, like whenever we had Abdul Malik in the message, we had no problem with this. Never.
Hear his voice across the
everybody's gonna know what, and that's good because people might not be able to hear it. People in the back rows, they might, because something could just go out with the microphone, and that's the case. And people in the back rows say it out loud.
Well, it's not. You don't have to go into sujood, dude. You can stay standing up.
What's that?
Wait,
what's the question again?
Yes.
Maybe I misunderstood the question or something.
If the man makes sujood tilawa during salah, but some sisters.
Oh, sujood tilawa.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not even wajib.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can stand. You don't even have to go. You don't even have to make sujood. You can just stand. While they make the sujood, you can stand. It's not wajib. Yeah, you remain standing. But obviously with the imam, the Prophet ﷺ said that the imam that the imam was placed to what? To be followed. فَإِذَا رَكَعَ فَرَكَعُوا وَإِذَا سَجَدَ فَاسْجُدُوا. So follow him, But the sujood tilawa is not an actual part of the salah. It's a part of the recitation of the Quran. It has nothing to do with the, so no, it's not, there's salah still valid. Sorry, I didn't understand the question. Because as far as the sujood tilawa, there's no Allahu Akbar. And that's the difficult thing with it, because the women behind a partition, they won't be able to see it. So, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, if they remain standing, their salah still valid. Is that it?
Yeah, I don't see nothing else. About the prenup. So what if in America half goes to the wife? Does she have to give it back?
What's that?
So what if in America half goes to the wife? Does she have to give it back?
Islamically, if the courts rule in the favor of the woman that she gets half of that man's property, then it's an obligation upon her to give it back to him. She can't. Yeah, she can't accept, because the kuffar rule in that favor. It's not permissible for her to take it. She has no rights over the man after the divorce. It's over. It's done. The only person, like I said, the only people or person that has rights over the man, the children. He's got children. He still has to support his children. If his children are small and she's a woman and she's not getting married again, then the children stay with the mother until she gets married. When she gets married, the children go back to the man unless the man is incapable of taking care of the children. All right, if he's incapable and if he's careless and just just a person like maybe he's like real wishy-washy in his deen, maybe he's smoking, maybe he listens to music and the mother's righteous, then the mother doesn't allow the children to go back and stay with the man. But if he's a man, he's taking care of business and he's on his deen, she wants to get married again, the children go back to the man. It's over because they're his children. They take his lineage. They're like like my son, it's Saif ibn what? Ibn Muhammad ibn James. It's not the son of his mother. In fact, that's an insult in amongst the Arabs to say Anta ibn Ummah. To say you're the son of your mother, akhi, that's the worst insult that you could say to a, not the worst, one of the worst insults that you could say to a person in Yemen or any other country. Saudi, like any other countries in the Khalij, any country that speaks Arabic, go up to an Arab and say, Ya akhi anta ibn Ummah anta. Yeah, boy, look at the expression on his face. He'd be like, what did you just say? Man, maybe you don't understand what you just said. You're going to be fighting, akhi. He'll take off his shoe in a second. Start beating you with his shoe. Akhi, no, it's like that's a very big insult to say that you're the son of your mother. And just like in America, what do we say? Ah, man, he's a mama's boy. Yeah, but this is even stronger than that. This is even stronger because by saying you're Ibn Ummah, that's also saying that, there's a, basically your parents are fornicators. So there's like a stronger, meaning involved in there, So it's way, way, way worse.
If the kid came from fornication, you can't call him from the lineage of his
mother. He takes the lineage of his mother.
Abdul Malik said, crackheads.
Nah. You said it. I didn't say it. But he knows what I was talking about, though. That's the shahid.
Does a Muslim man have to give half of his wealth if they get a divorce in the U.S. government?
What's that?
Does a Muslim man have to give half of his wealth if they get a divorce?
You just asked that question.
In the government, though, like America.
It doesn't matter, akhi. The Muslim woman has no right to take anything from the man, even if the government gives it to her. She gives it back. It's not her property. It's the man's property. The man is the one who worked and took his money and bought that stuff. The woman has no claim to that after the divorce. She goes to her parents' house and her parents support her. The man, the only one that he has to support is his children. That's it. She has no right to anything that's not hers. Anything that was hers before the marriage is hers after the marriage. If he gave her a gift and he said, hey, I'm going to buy you this couch. This is yours. They get divorced, what? She takes the couch. He gave it to her as a gift, right? But anything in that house that he bought and he did not say this is yours, it's not ours. It's ours while we live together. But divorce happens, it's mine now. And it's not about being stingy, but this is the rights of a Muslim. And so the problem is that a lot of the Muslim women, they get caught up in this system here from the kuffar, where they're going to give her what? They're going to give her like this and give her, Akhi, you don't deserve it, don't take it. Again, you have no rights once it's over. You take whatever property is yours and you vacate the house. Now, if the woman's working and the man's working and they both shared with different, as far as buying, then that's something that they can figure out on their own. They can do that on their own or with a mediator who's a Muslim. They don't need to go to the courts of the kuffar and do this type of stuff and bring the kuffar and lawyers and all this type of stuff into this just to do what? To destroy the man's life. That's nonsense. You trying to destroy your brother and you're doing what? And you're working with the kuffar to destroy him? No. You want your rights? Get your rights in another way. If you can't get your rights in this dunya, then make dua that Allah gives you your rights in the next life. Khalas, if you're oppressed, you can get your rights with dua. But the thing is that the women are so quick to run to the kuffar to, get this man's property. And like I said, if she was working and she did actually pay half and he paid half and everything, that's something that they can sort out on their own. They don't need to bring kuffar into this. They don't need to bring courts into this. How much you going to pay the lawyers now to go through all this? By the time you get the property sorted out, you've already spent more. You could have rebought the property with all the money that you spent on lawyers. That's stupid. Wallahi, that's so stupid that Muslims will go and get drug into these types of systems with no need for it. With no need. Like I said, we talked about the time where if a person owes you money, that it's permissible. If the only way there's no other way that you can get your rights is only through the course of the kuffar. But here with the marriage and everything, come on, man. There's so many ways that you can. There's no reason for a Muslim and Muslimah to ever be in a court of a kafir, ever, for any of these types of reasons. We have enough Muslims around America that can sit down and intermediate and solve all these problems without them having to go to the kuffar, crying to the kuffar, paying all their money to the kuffar for what? You know how much these lawyers make off of our stupidity? And for what? What do we benefit? Absolutely nothing. You got a bunch of property. Look how much money you spent to get it back. That's stupid. Stupid. Well, if that's the case, you can have it. You can have it. Day of judgment, we're going to see what's going to happen. You know, Allah Mustaan.
Can I recite the sunnah or asr prayer out loud when I'm praying alone?
I mean, as far as the sunnah prayer, you can recite it out loud. It doesn't negate it or invalidate it. But that's not the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, except for the night prayer.
What about asr?
No.
Can't?
That's not what he did. Hadi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I mean, if you recite it out loud, I mean, he would recite certain ayat out loud just to show the Sahaba what he was reciting. But to actually recite the whole salat, he never did that. So why would you do it?
Are you sinful?
And then if you're sinful, I mean, if you're not sinful, if you don't know. But if you do this and you constantly do this and you do it on purpose, then you better have evidence for it. Because if not, then it's bid'ah. And then now you know, man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu fa huwa rad. Whoever innovates anything in this religion that's not from it, then it's rejected. So then the action's going to be rejected and khalas, he gets no reward for the salah.
They said because it helps him concentrate.
No, it doesn't matter.
If a woman hates the ruling of hijab but is unaware that hating is an act of kufr, is she considered a disbeliever?
No, she does. Once she understands that, like, this is from the deen, and hating anything from this deen, it's kufr. Once she understands that, khalas, if she still decides that she wants to hate it after that, then why did you become Muslim in the first place? Obviously this religion is not for you. A woman that hates the hijab, obviously she's chosen the wrong religion.
Is it obligatory for a woman to go to the Eid Salah?
As far as the obligation, Allah knows best. It's an obligation for the man. For the women, it's highly encouraged. I won't say it's an obligation, but the Prophet ﷺ encouraged even the menstruating women to come out for the Eid Salat. They call it but they have to stay away from the musalla.
What is the ruling on mothers keeping the kids away from the father and not allowing them to visit him using Western courts to do this?
She's a zalima, oppressor. And she's going to answer for that on the Day of Judgment. She'll answer for that. You can't keep a man from his kids unless there's a reason for it. Like I said, if the man's smoking weed, listening to music, hanging around with idiots, and she doesn't want her children around that, then yes, she has every right to keep her child away from the father. But if the father is righteous, he's praying. I mean, he doesn't have to be knowledgeable. He's just a normal dude that works 9 to 5, supports his family, prays in the masjid. If there's a lecture, he attends the lecture. He's just a Muslim. How are you going to keep the man from his children? She'll be held accountable for that. If she doesn't have a reason for it. If she has a reason for it, a valid reason, like I said, I mean, if the husband's like that, sometimes he prays, sometimes he doesn't, smoking weed, hanging around with idiots. It's an obligation for her to keep the kids away from him.
And she can go through the government courts? If
that's the only way that she can do that. If she can keep the kids away from him and other means, then khalas, she doesn't have to go to the courts. But that's the only way. The only way that she can keep the kids from him. That's the only way, because again, we're looking out for the maslahah of what? The children. If the children are going to be around the father and the father is a bad influence, and if the children are going to grow up, loving the smell of weed and loving the sound of music and all that, then in that case, kids need to stay away from them. Should be avoided. And if she has to go to the courts of the kuffar, that's the only means. Again, I say this, that's the only means that she has. But it has to be for that purpose. Again, for the maslahah of the children. And if he makes tawbah and he starts acting right, then what? She lifts it. She lets the kids go back to the father.
The comment disappeared. if we're talking to a potential spouse and he has interest-based loans and doesn't feel the urgency to pay them back, is that a huge red flag?
What's that?
Is that a huge red flag?
I know. Say it again.
If we were talking to a potential spouse, male, and he has interest-based loans and doesn't feel an urgency to pay them back, is this a huge red flag?
Whether or not he has an urgency to pay them back or not, the fact that he has them in the first place is the red flag. Whether or not he's in a rush to pay them back does not matter. The fact that he's a Muslim and he took out these loans in the first place, that's a red flag in itself. So, you know, I mean, because that's one of the major sins. And again, you're looking at a man who's committing a major sin, a major sin. You know, and now you want to marry him. There's a question here about username. I'm sorry, because I just scrolled through and I saw it, but it's one of these questions that people try to keep asking all the time. Spider. You got a spider about to crawl up.
Oh yeah.
Safe to carry me right
Nice. Nice.
There's a big spider. Alright, so username said we had a local imam who would force the man to do the court marriage in addition to the nikah. He said to protect the Muslim woman. That's the fatwa of the munafiqeen. That is exactly the fatwa of the munafiqeen and the charlatans. These liberal imams that come from overseas and all they want to do is be American. Yeah, this is the type of thing that they do. Again, I mean, a Muslim has no place in the course of the kuffar. If we can avoid it, we can avoid it. We should be striving to set up our own system amongst ourselves based on the Quran and the Sunnah, where we settle all of our disputes amongst ourselves. But first, we have to clean house. We can't do this with the house with the house that we have right now. The house that we have right now is too corrupt. We got too many hypocrites in charge and too many clowns in charge. So right now, like all around America, New York, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota, West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, all these places we have to clean house. We have to clean house first. Because like right now, the house that we have is too corrupt. So we can't build anything proper until we just get all this corruption out. All this corruption. This should be our main goal right now. Our main goal, like all across America, is to start cleaning the house up. Getting these hypocrites and getting these munafiqeen and getting these clowns out of power. That's it. All across America.
Okay, so what if a kafir, right, buys a car with interest because he's a kafir, he doesn't care, right? And he takes his shahada, so he's not Muslim, but he's still paying off that debt.
Pay it off.
Pay it off?
Because look, if it was a debt that he had with a Muslim, then we sit down with the Muslim and we can talk to the Muslim and say, hey, he's going to pay you back the money he owes you without interest. But you didn't take that debt out.
Yeah.
As a kafir, you took the debt out with what? From the kuffar.
Yeah.
So now, if you don't pay it off, then there's going to be like legal repercussions if you don't pay it off.
Yeah.
So again, you hate the fact, you hate what you're doing, but you're doing it because it's, again, what they might do to you and the problems that they'll cause you. So just pay it off, but then you never do it again. Because you've already gone into that contract with them as a kafir, not as a Muslim. Just finish paying it off. A lot of people that sit there and say don't pay it off, but then what happens to the guy? He doesn't pay it off, and then come on, you see all the problems that this can. You have if you don't pay that off, then what happens to your credit? You can't even get an apartment, can't rent a house, you can't do anything. Come on. So you've already gone into that contract before Islam. Just pay it off, and that's it. Be done with it. Yeah.
So with the interest loans,
because most of the interest, you could say that you paid it off before you even became Muslim. Because say that you had a contract with them to pay, buy a car, right? And you're paying off the car in 5 years. 2 years after paying it off, and now you become Muslim.
Yeah.
So the last 3 years, you're paying off the principal of it anyway. So you probably already paid off all the interest in the first place. The first 2 years of the loan, you're not even paying the interest anymore anyway. So the contract, just finish it and just never do it again.
So with the potential marriage person who had the interest-based loans, what if he, like a local imam, told him that it was permissible to take them for education, which I'm sure happens all the time here.
Why are you throwing your head back
Because
like
he
that?
knows who I guess he probably says some stuff like that.
No, it's just like the fact that an imam said it was permissible to.
I mean, look, if he honestly, he's really ignorant of the religion. He went to the imam and asked him, which is kind of stupid question because, Imam, I need to take a loan because I want to go to college, and it's got interest on it. Do you really have to ask the imam this question? You just answered the question yourself. Is it halal? Is it haram? But what these imams do is that these liberal imams, these hypocritical imams, and these clown imams is that they go and they tell the person, well, this is a darura. This is a necessity. Yeah, keep going to college is you're gonna die if you don't go to college. I didn't graduate high school, alhamdulillah. You know, I was supposed to graduate in high school in 1996. I dropped out in 97 after the third year that I was in the 10th grade. I said, forget this, man, I'm done. I didn't drop out, I went to jail. I dropped out twice, right? But I stopped going to school in 97. So how many years is that? 28 years now?
97, yeah, 28 years.
Well, really, I stopped going to school in 96. But all right, so 28, 29 years. Alhamdulillah, I never starved to death. I didn't finish high school until today. I still have not finished high school. Forget college. So I know all this type of garbage that this is a necessity, that you're going to die if you don't get, no. There's no type of necessity where you have to take out an interest-based loan to go to school. That's not a necessity. A necessity is that you're dying in the middle of the desert and the only thing that you can find is a pig. You know, that's a necessity. Or a person like he's you know, I don't know, like some people, they're like way out in the desert and they start drinking their urine just to put water, liquids back in their body. That would be a necessity because to keep themselves from dying from thirst. But a necessity to take an interest-based loan to do what? To go to college? Are you silly?
When community college is free, at least here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I'm saying, like, who said, like, you need to go to college? How many people spend all that money on college and they end up doing the same job that somebody didn't even go to college is doing? It's probably getting paid more than him. Because here's a news flash for you. As soon as you get out of college, every single job is going to say, well, what experience do you have? Mm-hmm. You don't have any experience because you wasted your time in what?
College.
In college. Yeah. You don't have experience. So
the blue collar trades you can get into an apprenticeship, and that's experience right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you get paid for it.
Oh yeah, paid experience right there.
With cleaning house, isn't that? So you can get experience, go to prison.
Oh yeah.
You know, and go and do like a trade, like I had a close friend, very close friend. That's where he became a mechanic in prison. Mashallah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
With cleaning house, isn't that the responsibility of people in knowledge? We laymen?
No, that's all of our responsibility. All of our communities are all of our responsibility. The communities are not just placed on one individual. If our communities fail, we all failed. Not the imam, not the board. No, we all failed. Because either one, we had a bunch of hypocrites doing a bunch of craziness, and we were all silent about it, and we all let it happen. So whose fault is that? Is that ours or is that theirs? It's all of ours. They're the ones that are doing wrong, and we're the ones that remain silent. So that's it. I mean, anything that goes wrong in our communities, until we start taking the responsibility, it's not their masjid. It's the masjids belong to Allah. They don't belong to any individual. They don't belong to any group, any person, anybody. So us as Muslims, that masjid, it was all of us, we pray in that masjid. The community is our responsibility to maintain it, to take care of it, and to make sure that everything goes right. If you don't want to participate in the community then, and you allow hypocrites to take charge of everything, then what are they going to do? They're going to hijack all the money. They're going to, and do what? What do you want? What happens to the community? It starts to fall apart. Starts to fall apart. So that's what happens. If you have thieves in charge and everybody's remaining silent, then you're partaking in the criminal activity. You're partaking. You know something's wrong, and you stay silent. Then it's your fault. So as far as fixing the communities, just like it was all of us that damaged the communities, it's only us that can fix them. You know, I mean, all of the messages, they rely on what? They rely on the people that go there. If that masjid doesn't want to act right, then what do? We gather up our resources, and we go somewhere else and we start our own masjid. That's it. I mean, we don't have to remain in under nobody's, nobody's criminal behavior, nobody's nothing. Like I said, I mean, you got like donors, you got all these people that they want good, they want to do good. They don't want to give this money to people that's going to pocket it and buy new cars and do all this type of stuff. And nah. So again, you take those people, you go start a new masjid. It's very simple. The masjid doesn't have to be huge, be a small masjid, but you go and you start your own thing. And you move out of these masjids. Because these masjids, akhi wallahi, how are they going to support a masjid if there's no people? They rely 100%. These masajid rely 100% on what? Donations. They ain't got nothing going on with these masjids. They're not even establishing any type of Muslim businesses or nothing. It's a school and it's a masjid and it's donations from people. Even the school relies on donations from the people. So khalas, and we continue to give and we continue to support, then that's our fault. And like again, you know that everything's going wrong in the masjid and you continue to support it, you're a part of the problem. You're a part of the problem. You're not a part of the solution.
How should laymen go about cleaning up the house, and what effort do they start with? How should we be cleaning our own house, and what effort do we start with?
Effort is first with knowledge. Knowledge and righteous actions, because the only thing that we can unify on, our unity is on what? It's on Quran and Sunnah, the correct aqidah, the correct belief, the correct understanding of this deen. So first we need to establish what we're going to be unifying on, and that's knowledge. You start to teach the people, you come together, you start classes and you start doing things, and then you start to see the people that, okay, these are the people that really want good, and these are the people that are just going along with the program and support. You take the people that really want good and you go do your thing. Like I said, if you can't change that message, then khalas. You're not trying to go and start a war. What for? We're not trying to, we don't need to do that. You take whatever resources you have and you leave. You go somewhere else. Khalas.
So for the person who took the loan because an imam said it was a necessity, he started practicing more and he regrets it. What should he be doing for Tawbah?
Make Tawbah. Has he already paid back the loan?
Yeah, it doesn't say. Should a Salafi brother break away and start praying and gathering in someone's home until they can rent a masala and take it from there?
Hey, do whatever you can do. Start durus in somebody's garage if you have to. I mean, look at what we had to do. We went from the masjid, now we're sitting here, and inshallah, hopefully, with the days to come, months to come, and inshallah, we have something better. But we do whatever we can do with the situation that we have. Yeah, we're sitting here in 100-degree weather, sweating like crazy. But alhamdulillah, I don't think the people really understand how difficult this lesson is to take. Like, it's hot in here, ain't it? Yeah, boy.
He didn't pay back the loan yet. He didn't pay back the loan yet.
I don't know, man. Yeah, that's a difficult situation, dude. Yeah, that's a lot of money, man. That's not easy. That's you're talking about taking like a loan to buy a car, and then you're talking about a loan to go to college.
Yeah, I was like, those are like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. And then nah, man. And then the amount of interest they put on those loans, I think you're gonna be paying that loan back until you're 50, man. So.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, man, let's go, because like I said, man, give the people some breaks. It is hot. We want to turn on the AC. Can't turn on the AC because of the live stream. Allahumma